Hello,
Hi,
this is Hannah,
and Sarah.
and we are sadly missing Calissa.
We are.
It's gonna be a minute till she pops on because she's doing the things.
She's got a lot of work. She's a working lady.
She is a working lady of the night.
We really shouldn't say that.
Yeah, that was from
Not like
our
in a dirty way, but
You said it in our past.
I know.
and
Yeah.
that was
I think Calissa said it first, and then
She did,
I
and
said it
then-
after that, and now it's just that's going to be our running joke. Calissa's a nurse of the night, a lady of the night.
lady of the night.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so it is August 28th.
It's been, weeks
Since July.
Yeah, weeks. So that's like almost a month probably since we've
Yeah.
sat down together. And I think even the last time that we sat down, I don't think that we had Calissa because she was working that day too.
Yep.
So summer's just a hard schedule for everybody, and we've all had stuff
The end
going
of summer
on,
and then
so.
fall too, because Craig is a farmer, and I know how those farm
When school
falls.
starts, and both of our kids are, well, Calissa and my kids are all in school and everything, so it's just like a whole new schedule, and yeah.
So-
and you guys are moving, so
Yes,
No.
Nick and I bought a new place, so.
There's
But
just
we're
a lot
not in
going
like a
on.
rush. He said he was like no rush to like move.
okay.
So that kind of took off a lot off my mind.
Yeah, it's not like with the old
I
house. I
felt
feel like
like
you had a buyer right away, and then it was like
there was such a timeline.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just wanted to get moved in.
yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's gonna be kind of relaxed, but once I start moving, I'm like, okay, we gotta move in now. Like, I just want to get in there and yeah.
Yeah. So this episode will kind of just be a little bit of catch up, a little bit of like pop culture drama,
Ooh,
a little bit of, I don't know, sporting things, drama,
Yeah, just,
things going on.
a fun,
Yeah.
random
Just a little
again.
yeah, kind of like the things that we're interested in, or maybe a couple things that we did together and stuff since we've been gone. So
Well, me and you have gotten together, so
Yeah,
we've
we've
done
seen
some,
each other.
We'll talk about some stuff that
yeah,
some
yeah.
drama, celeb drama.
Yes,
not
yeah.
us personal drama.
No.
Okay.
We're too old for that now.
I still enjoy it if it's someone else's, but
That's true. I just don't want to be involved. Yeah.
I'll be a fly on the wall.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So July, was it July that I went?
Yeah, it was like the 12th, right? Or the 20th. July 20th? Hold on, she's going to check her calendar. She's a calendar lady. I think it was the 20th.
Was it July? Okay, yes, July 14th on a
14th.
Sunday. I went to my first WNBA game,
And it was radical.
and it was awesome. So the Indiana Fever is my team that I watch because of Caitlin Clark. And they were going to be in Minnesota. It was their first time in Minnesota, which is kind of crazy because they've been playing other teams back to back to back to back.
He for Chicago, right? Is that right?
In Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, okay.
Chicago
Did you
is
say that already?
Chicago
Okay.
Sky. Yeah.
Indiana. Okay.
Angel Reese is on Chicago
Oh,
Sky.
yeah. Okay, okay.
Yeah. And Caitlin Clark is on Indiana Fever.
Right.
So this was their first time playing Minnesota, which I thought was crazy because I'm like, why aren't they playing Minnesota more? They're always playing the same teams over and over again.
Seems kind of silly.
But there's not a whole lot of teams in
That's
this
true.
league, so
Women's sports aren't as like big as men's sports, so not every.
it's slowly snowballing. Like
Yeah.
people are seeing the potential money in it.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. So it was our first time playing Minnesota. And Caitlin Clark has been a big fan of the Minnesota Lynx for a long time when she was a little girl. Her and her dad would go to these games all the time.
Was that her first choice? Is that what she said?
She can't like choose.
Oh, well,
But-
I know, but didn't she? I thought you said something about her having wanted to be picked by a certain team.
I would assume that she would love to play on the Minnesota
Maybe it was
Lynx.
one of them. Okay.
Because she used to go to them all the time as a little girl,
Sure.
her and her dad.
Oh, sure, because she's from Iowa.
Yes.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
And her favorite team player is Maya Moore, and they just retired her number the other day. Like they have her jersey up on the Hall of Fame and everything. They had like a huge ceremony for this Maya Moore,
That's cool.
and she's kind of awesome because she was an all-star player. You know, making all these,
Like crazy
goal-
shots and stuff.
Well, not only that, but she was breaking records left and right.
Oh, sure.
And then I think her boyfriend got in some legal trouble.
Uh-oh.
And they got him out, but then she started looking what Kim Kardashian is doing. She kind of quit basketball and is helping men or like people
Oh.
get out of prison.
Oh, interesting.
Like she's like digging into information that they're
So she's interested
not
in like
guilty.
the legal field.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
So I haven't read up much about it, like how many people she's gotten out of prison and helped, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Interesting.
Like she found her purpose.
So does she like go to law school, or she
I'm
just
not sure.
like has the
I-
means and the assets to find people who can?
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'd have to read up more about it, but like all the comments were like, she lived her dream. Now she's fulfilling her purpose.
Right.
And her purpose is to help her community.
That's so cool.
And I don't know if it's in Minnesota or not, but like, yeah.
I would assume, but maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to read up on more on it.
Yeah, because I don't. She could be from anywhere, so like maybe it was from wherever she was from originally.
Right. And
Yeah.
so, like I said, I'm new into the WNBA and the drama and the players. Like, I'm just like starting to like, who, what, where, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just so Maya Moore,
Right.
Caitlin Clark, huge fan. Maya actually got to visit Caitlin, and Caitlin just like turned into like a little girl fan, and
that's
was like,
cute.
"Oh my god!" and she's crying and everything, and it was pretty
cute.
awesome. So they were in Minnesota, and I had bought into seats, and they weren't good enough for Nick. He's like, "Why'd you buy seats all the way up there?" And I'm like, I don't know. I just the minute she got drafted into Indiana, I like bought tickets. Like I saw the schedule.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, she's gonna be in Minnesota, July 14th. I'm getting whatever tickets I can get.
Yeah, I thought you said when we talked about this like months ago. I thought you said that there was like hardly any tickets available, so you just got what was available.
yeah, like I couldn't pick my seats or anything. They just kind of gave me these seats, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay. So I'm like, I think this is good. So I bought them, and we were at Adventureland, and Nick was like, "What seats did you get?" And I showed him on the map, like, "Oh, we're sitting right here. Like it's actually pretty decent." He's like, "No, it's not." And then he went on a different website and bought some tickets on courtside. He's like, "I'm buying courtside seats." And I'm like, "Is this a legit site? Like, is this real?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's what I bought them. So we're going to go." And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
well, I'm holding on to the, like,
Just in case.
yeah. But then I was like, well, I don't want to have these seats that sit empty. So I invited my brother and his partner. And I was like, hey, do you want to go to the Fever? And they're like, hell yeah, we'll go. And so we all got up in our Caitlin Clark uniforms and
Nice.
everything. And they drove us there. And then we actually had a lot of spare time to kill. So we went, and I thought it was crazy. We went to like a bar, like a restaurant really close by the arena. We just walked there. And it was pretty empty. And there was 2 people wearing Lynx jerseys. And there was a couple Indiana shirts in the bar. And then, I don't know, it turned like noon. And all of a sudden, like a
People
sea,
just like streamed in.
a sea
Yeah.
of red, yellow, blue, or
Yeah.
red, gold, blue, all like swarmed in. And
Yeah.
these 2 people in Lynx jerseys were just like looking around. They're like, oh my God, like where are the Lynx people? There was like no Minnesota people in there. It was all Indiana fans. And everyone was wearing a Caitlin Clark jersey.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I get so nervous watching the Indiana Fever game because I'm like, I don't know. I just
You're
feel
so
like
invested.
they're like, yeah, my heart and soul right there. And I'm
That
like,
is crazy.
I just want them to do so I could barely eat. And I'm like, no, if I eat, I'm going to like have nervous poops and I can't. Like, and Nathan's like, why are you so nervous? It's just a
bubble
game.
guts the whole time.
Yeah. And I'm like, Nathan, I'm just so nervous. Like, I can't, I'm too scared.
Oh my goodness.
And like Nick and Scott and Nathan were like, why are you scared? And I'm like, I'm just nervous, okay? Like, I want them to do so good.
Oh my goodness.
Because the Minnesota Lynx coach is Cheryl Reeves, and she's kind of a hater.
That's not what's her face's like parent or something. Oh, that's Reese, not Reeves. Okay.
Yeah, it's Reeves.
Yeah.
And she's been a coach for them for so long, but
Mm-hmm.
she's always had a sour attitude towards Caitlin Clark
Why?
because she is the USA coach for the
Like for the
women's
Olympic team?
For the women's team, yeah.
Okay.
And
What does that have to do with Caitlin Clark?
because everyone wanted Caitlin to be on the Olympics.
Oh.
And she kind of had like a sour attitude towards that. And it was just kind of like, she came off rude. And so fans, like, she's just a hater. I don't know what the quote unquote she said, but she kind of came off as a hater. And I think it was pre-interview or post-interview. I think it was post, after the game. they lost, by the way, the Minnesota Lynx. And a
Oh,
reporter,
the Lynx did. Oh, okay.
yeah, and a reporter was like, "How does it feel that your stadium was filled with Indiana fans and hardly any Lynx fans?" And she literally swore, and she's like, "I don't give two fucks." Like she had a sour attitude.
That's like such a bad
post-
question, though.
Yeah.
Like, what a terrible. You couldn't,
Like,
as a reporter, you couldn't think of a better question than that.
There's
Like,
so many-
what could you do better next time? What did you think that your
Yeah.
team did really well? Like, where do you think they could grow?
No,
Like,
they want to.
come on.
They like want to. That's how they get you, like that little gotcha, like gotcha.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it just makes her look bad.
it's clickbaity.
Yes.
And that's so annoying. I hate that.
Yeah. So she had that attitude, and then people were like, "Oh my gosh, she's such a she had such a sour attitude post game."
But like, wouldn't everybody, like, if the whole thing, like, you're there to play a sport, you're there to do games, or whatever you call it. I don't know. I don't know nothing. But and then it's just about like one single person. Like that's all the media cares about.
Literally, like every.
That's so stupid.
They
like,
always
I would
bring
be
up
mad too.
like even Diana Taurasi when they're like, well, what are some of your feedback for Caitlin Clark joining the big leagues? And Diana Taurasi kind of like, hey, of course everyone's going to look superhuman playing against a bunch of 18-year-olds. You're going to come into a league where you're going against some big-time veterans and like some grown-ass women. And people took that as like, oh, you're just a hater. But I was like,
It's
no,
real. That's
like,
real life.
Yeah, like that happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're getting hazed, but, like, reality is coming. That's what Diana said. But it came off to some people, it was like, you're just a hater. Like,
I think people are just shady and like looking for, which so are we. We're looking for the drama, but that's just creating it where it doesn't exist.
yeah. And it is reality.
Yeah.
Like, someone coming out of
100%.
any kind of business school, beauty school,
Any career.
nursing school.
Absolutely.
Like, they're not going to know everything. Like, reality is coming.
Yep.
And they're going to find out the hard way. And
And school's way different than being in a fully like professional setting.
Yes.
It's way different.
yeah. But I think just, like, she didn't say anything positive about Caitlin. So, like, people were like,
or do we need to like lick her butt?
yeah, that's basically what people were kind of. I think some of
It's so
the
not necessary.
veteran players, that's what they were getting. Like, oh, Caitlin Clark, Caitlin
Yes.
Clark. But they're like, oh, we've been in this league for like 4 or
Years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe a little jealousy that they never got that.
I mean, I'm sure.
I get
but
it. I get it. I would be
it's
sour
just-
too.
I mean, yeah, I get it, but it's stupid.
Yes.
It's stupid.
So going back to Cheryl Reeves, she was, whatever. She wore this shirt and it said "Black Girls Rock."
Okay.
And everyone says, oh, she wears a lot of statement shirts like that at her games. I'm like, okay. But then some people were like, is that a dig at Caitlin? Because
Just because she's white?
that, and I think Cheryl was getting a lot of, why isn't Caitlin in the USA Olympic team, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. So
she would have to try out like everyone else.
I'm
It's not
not-
like she just makes it.
I'm not sure how that,
We would have to look that up, but I would have, just like every other sport in the world that goes to the Olympics, they all have to try out individually or whatever.
Actually,
like-
the tryout date was not set for Caitlin. Like, she couldn't try out because she was at away games.
Oh, so cry about it.
Oh, Caitlin's
for
not
next
crying
year.
about it, just
Yeah.
for fans.
Well, right. Like, hope for next year.
Yeah,
Like, it's
exactly.
not that serious.
And there really wasn't any other rookie on the USA team, so
Yeah.
she would have been fine. And she was like, no, I'm totally fine. It's just her fans are a little crazy. So Cheryl, she wore that shirt, and then I haven't watched her in a game really, but she just looked really angry and pissed off, like yelling at her players, like, get that, and everything. And so, I mean, same was the Fever coach, Christy Sides.
Yeah, I feel
she's
like it's
screaming.
everybody.
Yeah. They're both screaming, and I'm sitting right behind Christy Sides. I'm like, oh my God, Nick, there she is. I see her on TV, and she's always looking crazy. But she was literally crazy. She's like throwing her hands up in the air, yelling at the players, like, da 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 da. I'm like slapping her fingers together. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway,
That's every sport.
yes. But like,
Yeah.
it was just crazy. I was sitting right behind her.
Yeah.
And I'm
You
like,
could look at her butt.
I did.
Did she have a good butt?
She was wearing sweats, so.
Oh, that's
but, like,
unfortunate.
Yeah, but I was like, I can't believe it. Like, you're doing this in real time. And
Yeah.
like, I'd be watching this on TV. Yeah. So
Somebody was watching you on TV.
a lot of people were. Like I had a bunch of like my aunts and uncles texting my mom, Hannah got some amazing seats. And then my mom, like, I don't think she realized how good my seats were because she texted me like, why is everyone telling me that you have good seats? And I'm like, turn the TV on and you can see me right there.
That's funny.
I don't know if she did or not. So Nathan and Scott, we got to the arena and the line was insanely long.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it was just for everyone else sitting like above court. So I'm like, Nathan, Scott, you need to jump in line. And so they were like all the way at the end of the line. And they're like, you better get in line for yours. And I'm like,
What line, girl?
yeah. And Nathan was like, Scott, like, look at their line. And it was like a tiny little school lineup.
Yeah.
And so Nick and I, we stood in line. We're like, okay, you'll see us down below. We'll see you up above. And we ran into a Lynx fan, and she was like this older woman. And she was like, I don't know, she kind of not came off rude, but like, she was like, how good are your seats? And Nick and I were like,
She was just like snotty.
kind of, but she was nice. And we're like, good, I think. And she's like, you better not have better seats than me. And we're like, okay. Like, chill. And then she had a granddaughter who was my age about, and she was like, do you know a lot of history of the WNBA? And I'm like, not really. Like, I'm just a new fan. I'm starting to kind of learn. And she was like, well, I just wanted to know why they dropped Celeste Taylor in the Indiana Fever. And the Indiana Fever did drop this player. She never played at all. And she got drafted to Mercury. But I was like, I don't know why they dropped her. And she's like, huh. And we're like walking and talking, but she like budged in front of us. And her granddaughter's like, Grandma, Grandma, Grandma. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And we're like, that's fine, just go ahead. Like, she budged, no big deal. But she was like talking to us, and as she was talking, she like,
Jumped right in there.
yeah. We're like, whatever. And then it was like VIP or like whatever. They had drinks that you could get there, food. Yeah. But Nick's like, do you want to see the players? And I'm like, yes. And we walked in, and literally the players were right there. They were like just practicing some free throws. And I'm like, oh my God, there they are. Holy crap, they're right there. And Nick's like, yeah. You want to go sit in your seat and watch them, practice? And I'm like, hell yes.
You're like the biggest dork ever.
Yeah, oh my God.
What a dorky,
Yeah. I'm like,
dorky hobby.
and I was like shaking. I'm like, oh my God, Nick, how close are we? And he's like, and the security guard was like, where are your seats at? And Nick was like, oh, right here. And, oh, follow me. And he's like, sorry, there's some Indiana Fever assistant coaches sitting in your seat. Is that okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, they can sit there as long as they want. And they're like, no, you'll sit in your seats during the game, but they're just kind of sitting there right now. You can sit right behind them. And so they were sitting on the court. We sat the chair behind them. And I was seeing all the players. I'm like, oh, there's Alyssa Smith. There's Aaliyah Boston. There's Lexi Hall. And Nick is just like kind of rolling his eyes, kind of laughing at me. He's like, oh my God, like just chill. And I'm like, oh my God, they're right there. And this Aaliyah, she took a break from doing free throws. And some fans were like, Aaliyah. And they're like, can you sign this? Can you sign this? And she's like, sure, I'll sign it. She just goes over and signs it, and that's it. And then I was like, Aaliyah! And she like looked over at me. I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And she's like, yeah, girl. And, I had one of the Fever assistant coaches like, okay, say cheese.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I was like, ah! I was just so excited. Mouth open. My fingers were pointing at Aaliyah, and she was so tall. And I'm like, thank you so much. Good luck tonight. She's like, thank you. And I don't know, she was so sweet.
That's good.
And then I was just like so amazed. And Nick was like, hey, look who it is. And I'm like, what, who? And Caitlin Clark is just walking by with like, not her bodyguards, but it looked like it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's Caitlin Clark. And she was just in the zone. Like she just looked down and like didn't look up. I'm just getting in the zone.
There's no like pre-show or pre-game like fan interaction for her then.
A little bit, but like for a long time, she like walked off the court, head down, didn't look up. And then she walked back on the court, and then she was stretching for like 20 minutes. Like,
Jeez.
she just laid on the court, and like this person was just stretching her out. And I'm like, I feel like I'm watching something illegal because her
Yeah.
legs are wide open in front of me. And I was too scared to look because I'm afraid of photographers. Like, Caitlin Clark's legs are open, and there's just a fan, like, just
Gawking at her.
Yeah. So I tried not to look, but
I'm
I'm
sure
like,
she has like compression type shorts or something underneath or something
I'm not
like
sure, but yeah.
that. You're not just like free underwear under there. Those shorts are like loose.
Yeah, very
You could
loose.
just like a coochie lip could just like slip out by accident. You would never want that.
Ew.
I would hope she would have something underneath.
I would
besides
think
just undies.
they almost all have compression underneath.
Good.
Yeah, but her and Alyssa Smith were stretching, and I'm like, I'm never gonna get a picture with her because I don't want to, like, she's doing something.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stayed put, and then, so again, Caitlin got up, eyes on the floor, didn't look up, and like fans were screaming her name, Caitlin, Caitlin, Caitlin.
That would be so annoying.
Yeah, and she just like didn't
Would
look
be
up
frustrating.
because I feel like if she were to make eye contact, like these kids, they were like over the railing, they were like pretty high above, and I was afraid one of them was gonna fall. Like that's how far they were like stretching out her t-shirts and like sign it, sign it, sign it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she didn't look up, and then she started doing free throws, just practicing her threes, and Melissa, she gets up, and headphones were off her, and I was like, Melissa! And she looked over at me, and I'm like, can I get a picture with you? It's so awkward asking for a picture. And she's like, yeah, girl, I'll take a picture. And she was the only player to put her arms around me, and I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because I low-key think she's a little like cute. Like attractive.
You'll have to show me these pictures afterwards because I feel like one of them I saw, but I don't like know these people, so
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
don't know.
Melissa, I think she's like cute.
okay.
And Nick's like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
You and your weird,
Yeah.
like, you're always attracted to different things. Not saying that she's not attractive. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But you attract
Maybe just like
other
she's got
people
some
that are strange.
swagger to her. I don't know. Because Natasha Cloud has the same thing. And I'm like, I just love it.
I feel like Nick also has a very distinctive, like, swaggery self that he, yeah.
There's something
so that
about
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she took a picture with me. And then Erica Wheeler, she was kind of like looking like, who are you taking a picture with? And I'm like, Erica, can I take a picture with you? And she's like, yeah.
So you just, like, got pictures with everybody?
Yeah, I like any player that was looking in my general direction, I was like, yell their name. Because I'm like, they're not doing anything. They're like hands free. Nobody's near them.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
But if they were talking to other players or the coaches, obviously I'm not going to yell. I'm just going to sit there and just kind of like awe at them. Like, oh my God, there she is.
Yeah.
And then finally, Caitlin got done doing 3 free throws, and she looked up, and all these kids were yelling, Caitlin, 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 Caitlin. And she walks over, signs a couple shirts, didn't take any pictures because there was no way she could grab a pic.
Yeah, sure.
So she's, signing all these, and then she just walks away, head down, and is just speed walking off the court. But I was like, yeah, everyone's just yelling her name in every direction.
I wonder if she was given very specific, like, PR instructions.
I'm not sure, but like,
I would guess because she's, like, pretty young. I don't imagine that would be her initial instinct to, like, not, like, rebuke fans, but to just kind of be, like, stoic,
yeah.
you know?
And I
Like,
feel
she
like
seems
if
like a friendly person, so.
yeah, and you have to like cut off.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's awkward to be like, oh, I know I signed this person and I can't sign yours. I have to get going. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So yeah, I think if she were to be there all day signing, like she would, it would be a 2-day ordeal.
Yeah.
Like there were so many little girls and like young kids just screaming her name. And I'm sure like this is, like she wanted to prove herself to Cheryl Reeves or something. Like that's what I was kind of getting, and so was the internet. Like I want to do really good because
Like, she's professional. Like, she belongs in the sport, like, at a professional level.
yeah,
Yeah.
and not just like I'm Caitlin Clark or no, I'm this.
Like, she didn't just get there because of her name.
Yeah.
And, like, the name she made for herself in college. Like, this is her.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and every time that I notice, if I turn on the TV and they have like the pre-show or the pre-game, Like her head is down on the court. Like she's not looking up. Like she's focused. Like she's like trying to get in the zone. Like, and I'm sure she's probably like just shitting her pants. Like, oh God, I got to do good or something, whatever. But she was in the zone. And then all of a sudden the Indiana coaches, they got off me and Nick's seats. And they're like, here's your seats. Thanks. Sorry for taking over. And I'm like, no, you're fine. And I wanted to be like, can you get me in with the team?
Like, let's go to the locker room.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I would have just I would have passed out if I would have had the chance. But I was like, no, you're fine. And then Nick and I sat in our seats, and I'm just nervous. I'm like, just nervous. And then 2 other people sit next to us, and it was a girl dressed in all pink pants, pink shirt.
Oh my gosh, why?
I don't know. And then
okay.
she had like a grandma or someone sitting next to me, and she kind of looked like, or she dressed like Dee Dee Blanchard.
Oh, jeez.
Like just kind
Like
of
in a moo-moo?
kind of, and then like some weird like clothing. And I was like, I can't tell who you're rooting for. And I was like, who are you guys rooting for? And they're like, the Lynx. And I'm like, okay. And then like the people behind us, like everyone in the row, they were all wearing Lynx shirts. And I'm like, okay, Nick and I are the only.
Whoops.
Yeah, and the Indiana team was sitting right next to us.
Yeah.
But like we were like the only Indiana fans near them, I thought. Or just in my sitting area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that little section.
And then, oh boy, yeah, the game started, and it was just so crazy because I saw the TV cameras rolling. I saw the announcers where, like, you would watch them on TV. They're talking. I saw the ESPN lady who walked by me, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so real. I'd be on TV watching this, and I'm right here. And it was just a surreal moment. And then, yep, they announced the girls' names, and then all of a sudden basketball starting. And I was so nervous that I wasn't going to be able to see the full court, see the full drama, but I saw everything fine.
That's good.
And I think...
Yeah, because you didn't have people, like, walking in front of you, like...
not fans, just coaches and players.
Coaches. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I didn't really know the Lynx team at all. I knew some of them, but since the Indiana hasn't played them in so long, or forever...
Yeah.
I didn't know some of the players. So the only rookie that I saw that I was hoping I'd see her play is this girl named Alyssa Peely. And
I feel like I've heard that name.
Yeah, she's a Samoan descent.
Oh, yeah, we talked about her.
Yeah, and I was just like, I saw her, practicing and everything before the game. She never played, and I was kind of sad. I was like, well, boo. Like, you're a really
She's
good player.
kind of just benched right now, being a rookie.
And most of them are.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me that Caitlin plays every single game, and she's never been benched.
I feel like it would be...
People would be
there would be a negative reaction to her being benched.
Oh, yeah.
Because did she play her first game?
Yes.
Did she?
She
the
was
very
like
first
starting
game?
fine, yeah.
Really? Okay.
And they did terrible for 6 games straight. Lost and lost and lost. But I was like, that's just what they need,
Yeah, I mean, it's a new dynamic whenever you have new players on the team.
Yep.
Like, it's going to take time
You gotta find your
mesh.
rhythm and mesh with the team. And now they're doing great.
Yeah.
So
I wonder who, like, were there players that played last season before she was drafted that got benched now because she's on the team?
I'm not sure of that. But Leah Boston, she was also a first-round pick, and she got drafted into the Indiana Fever. And people say, like, I think her past teams were like, no, she's a really great team player. Like, she's the one that...
Like, holds it together.
Yes. Like, she is like the mother hen, basically.
Yeah, she's a glue.
Yes. And we're seeing that her Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell, they're like the 3 dynamite players. They're the ones that are really connecting on the court. Because Caitlin, she's broken some records for her assists, which is throwing the ball to the player on the court. Like, she's gotten so much better at that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they won the game, and it was awesome. It was really hard for me to kind of just sit there and hear the Lynx fans, like, talking shit about Indiana. Because if there was like a foul, they'd be like, "That's what you get. That's what you get for doing that."
That's
and
so
I'm just like,
poor sportsmanship.
Yeah, and I'm like, just shut up. Like, it's not that serious. And then so every time the Fever got a point or something, I'm screaming, yeah! And I felt like I was the only one you could hear.
I'm sure everyone else who was sitting in your section was talking
Yep,
crap
I was
about
like,
you
you
the
keep
whole time.
talking shit, I'll just scream louder.
Yeah,
And
that's hilarious.
and then they won. I'm like, and I just wanted to go behind and be like, suck it. But
Oh my gosh.
but
That
I was
grandma
just
would have been so upset.
right. But she left. I think she was getting
Oh.
like uncomfortable or something. Like, she was a little bigger.
Oh, okay.
And then the bathroom situations were like so long.
I'm sure.
So she was like missing for like the last fourth quarter,
Oh,
which was fine because I had no one next to me.
yeah.
But yeah, all the Lynx fans were kind of like talking shit and everything. And so I just had to scream louder because
That's funny.
I was the only one.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yes. And Nathan was like, yeah, if Nick is tired of sitting down by court, I can definitely sit
can
where
fill
he's
in.
sitting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Nathan, I wish. Like, I'd love for him to sit down there with me and
Yeah.
cheer because he
Yeah.
would have been cheering just as loud.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Nick is very like reserved.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I don't
he was
imagine
just-
he said a peep like the whole time.
He just sat back and drinking his beer, and someone on Twitter took a picture of the screen and was like, is that the fat electrician at the WNBA game? And all of a sudden there was all these tweets like, the fat electrician's at the WNBA game?
I remember you guys talking about that.
And yeah, there
or
was
Calvin ran across it on Twitter or something like that.
yeah, and I'm like,
Hilarious.
what are they saying? And they're like, this is the first time I've heard of the WNBA because of the fat electrician.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like,
And really, it's because of his wife.
yeah.
Because Hannah wanted to go.
I'm just sitting there like, whoa, look at me, look at me. And my father, like Nick's parents, they were at home watching our kids, and they were watching the TV. And Nick's dad, everyone from his work was texting him, I see your son on TV, I see your son on TV. Oh my gosh, your son has the best seats, blah, blah, blah. And then Nick's accountant, or our accountant, he texted Nick during the game, are you at the WNBA game? Like, I think I see you.
That's hilarious.
And like everyone was just messaging, yeah, everybody. And
Oh, that's funny.
we're like, yep, that's us.
That's funny.
It was awesome. Just a fun experience. And I want to do it again.
Good.
Yeah. But
What's their schedule look like for like the rest of this season? Or are they not in season? I don't know anything.
it's getting close to the playoffs.
Okay.
So they were just in Minnesota and they lost.
Ooh.
It was like 80-90. And I'm like, dang.
So the chances of them being in the
Well,
playoffs is like pretty low.
They are,
Sorry.
if they keep doing well in games, they're going to be in the playoffs.
Oh.
Yes. And I think they're number 7 on the roster, and Chicago Sky is number 8. And Atlanta Dream is number 9. And people were rooting for the Indiana Fever. The Chicago Sky fans were rooting for the Indiana Fever to win against Atlanta, because if Atlanta won, it would put Chicago Sky in 9, and they wouldn't be able to make playoffs with that.
Okay.
So it's getting pretty close, and Nick is like, well, if they make playoffs, maybe we can go to a playoff game. And I'm
my
just like,
goodness.
don't say that to me, because I'd be freaking out, like, oh my God. Like, I can't
Yeah,
imagine the energy
that's-
in that room. And I'm like, just shut up. Like, don't say it unless you're actually going to do it.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm just
funny.
excited. Yeah.
Hilarious.
But speaking of Chicago Sky, what did you hear about Marina Mayberry?
Nothing. I just remember like months ago when we were talking about topics that we wanted to talk about on the pod, you were like, oh, there's drama and I want to talk about it. I was like, okay, go for it.
Yeah, so Marina, she was on the Chicago Sky, and I thought they were doing fine, because anytime Chicago played against Indiana, there was this girl named Mayberry, and she's just shooting threes, like just bang, 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 bang. And she has a TikTok, I found it, and so she's like, they're making fun, like TikTok videos, her and the Chicago Sky team. And then all of a sudden, she was like, she asked to be traded to somewhere else.
Ooh.
She asked to be traded, and they put her to the Connecticut Sun, and they're like number 2. Like, they rarely lose, and they've just been on a winning streak. And it's funny because someone on the Connecticut Sun, her name is Dejanay Carrington. She's like beautiful. She always has a full glam while she's playing a game.
Wow.
And I'm like, how do you not, like, your makeup stays so good? Like foundation, powder, concealer,
She has that-
bronzer.
She has that one size
No,
setting spray, guaranteed.
I
Or the
bet.
Charlotte Tilbury.
I found her TikTok too, so she'll be like,
See her makeup routine.
I did, and it's
okay.
like it's high end and low end products that she uses, and yeah, she just has a full glam. But like I guess in the past WNBA, anytime her and Mayberry played against each other, they were
would
always
beef.
fighting on the court. Like they're like talking shit to each other or
Like good naturedly, or they were actually like
it
embroiled
was
in
just
drama.
in the sports,
Okay.
like just
It's part of the sport.
yeah. So they were always beefing on the court, always. And then Marina asked to leave Chicago Sky, and she got put on the Connecticut Sun, where Dejanay.
So how does that work? Does
I
the
think she's a free agent.
so the Sun had to like request her though, right?
I
Or
think
like
they don't
maybe
have
her
enough-
agent had to reach out and say like she wants to be here. Like, would you
Maybe.
accept her?
I'm not sure how that
Okay.
draft works because
know either.
they're only supposed to have a limit of 12 people. And I think they didn't have 12. So they were
Okay.
like, okay, we can take her because we don't have enough players or
Right.
we don't have the numbers yet. But Dejanay and Mayberry, they're on the same team. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting because you guys always fought on the court.
Yeah. So now they have to like completely flip the script and learn
Yeah.
how to work together.
Yeah. So then I wished I watched the game. It was Chicago Sky versus Connecticut Sun. And Kennedy Carter, she's the one that shoulder checked Caitlin out of nowhere.
Sure.
Marina was going for a rebound, and Kennedy like just smacked her on the face. Like it looked like it was
On purpose.
on purpose.
Yeah.
And Marina falls to the court, like she's like holding her face, and
Oh my
people are
goodness.
like, "You guys were just teammates like a week ago, and you do that?" I don't know.
Well, that makes me wonder then if there was like a specific incident that happened, or if she was just whoever that lady was, whoever he said, was just like salty. I guess you never know.
Kennedy has been moved to like every single team because she cannot get along with her teammates or the coaches.
Oh.
So she settled with Chicago Sky, but she, shoulder checked Caitlin,
Yeah.
but they got fined for that. And then she like smacked Marina in the face, like on purpose. Like there's no denying it. Like the ball's right here, her face is right here. You're
Right.
really gonna.
Like it's like a foot difference. Like you can't call that. You know?
And
Yeah.
she's like, she does it, and she kind of walks off like all cocky, like I did that. And Marina's on the floor like, oh.
It's so annoying.
So then Dejanay, she does the same thing to Kennedy. She like throws Kennedy on the ground, and Kennedy's like looking up like, what the fuck happened? And Dejanay, she's walking back like, I fucking did that. She's got this attitude on her face, and she's like, And I'm like, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Like she's like low-key kind of sticking up for Marina.
Yeah.
But also like, that's my teammate.
Yeah.
You don't do that to my teammate.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Dejanay and Alyssa Smith on Indiana Fever, they're dating.
Oh.
They were together at Baylor, and then they must have broke up. But then when they were playing against each other,
They rekindled.
Dejanay fell on the ground, and Alyssa like picked her up with her hip, through her hips, and like, yeah. It was very flirty.
Oh my.
Yeah. And people were like, yeah, they dated. And then people were like, the WNBA is so interesting because you have people who are married to each other.
Really?
They've dated.
How
or
does
they
that
have-
work if you're playing for different teams?
Yeah, I don't know.
You're living in different states.
Exactly.
That
But
can't be
but
like.
Dejanay and Alyssa, they make a lot of TikToks together. So I'm just like, everyone's thinking Alyssa is probably going to ask to be traded. So she could be maybe closer to Dejanay. Yeah. So it's interesting, and I'm just like, I'm just living for it. But yeah,
That's such a workplace romance.
yeah. And I was like, I would totally watch that as a reality series.
That's straight out of literally the books that I read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Except I usually read hockey. I don't usually read a lot of basketball.
hockey. You didn't even want to go to a
I know.
hockey game.
I
with
don't
me.
care about hockey at all.
It's so fun
But
to
it's just
watch.
like that and football usually are like super common sports romances. Like they're all hockey, they're all football.
well,
It's
'cause
crazy.
Is it their build? Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. Because generally they're like beefier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be.
And then like they have like the small little princess. I'm guessing that's how they describe
Yes,
her.
pretty
in the-
much, yeah.
in the
Or like
book.
a sassy small person, yeah.
It's always sad.
I know.
Short and
sassy,
sassy.
or like, yeah, they're always small and the man is always very large. Yep, that's just always how it is.
Hockey, interesting. Okay. But you don't want to go to a hockey game with me.
No, I don't care about hockey.
Come on,
And
it's
it's
so
cold.
fun.
Like, that's too cold for me.
It's actually not too bad. Because I wore a sweater,
I don't
a winter
imagine-
coat, a hat, and a scarf, and I was sweating.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not that cold.
yeah. I don't imagine how that would be fun, to be honest. I couldn't picture that as being fun.
I don't know. But it's fun. I like watching especially when they fight.
I think that could be
boom,
fun
boom.
if there was good fighting.
Yeah, just take off the helmets and just beat each other.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Okay. Wow. Aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
But
gracious.
that's what hockey's known for.
I know.
It's a known thing.
I
It's
know,
not
that's
like,
also
not out of
why-
the blue, like, well,
I think that's also why it's very popular in the romance genre because, like, that's so.
Her prince was.
I wouldn't describe it that way.
well,
No
I
Prince
don't-
stuff, but like that's
I
very
don't know how-
caveman. That's very like
Her caveman
That's
fell
like-
on the ground
just
and she
how,
was
you
like,
know,
ah.
That's like no, she wouldn't be like that. She'd be like, yeah, it's so sexy when he punches other people in the face or loses a tooth. I don't know what people do, but yeah,
Yeah, and do you like watching Calvin do a competition?
he doesn't do competitions.
Damn
And
it.
I've never seen him do it because
Okay,
there was
but-
one time where I was like, me and the boys should come watch you because it was just in Minnesota or something, or in Des Moines. And he was like, no, I don't think so. I think that's okay. And I was like, all right then.
Okay, but like hypothetically, if you saw him, like
I do think it's attractive
attractive,
when I
yes.
have seen him roll.
maybe I just need to tell
Yeah.
Nick that, and I'm like, why don't you do any competitions? And Nick's like, nah, that's only for blah, blah, blah. Like I don't know what his excuse is.
He just doesn't realize the potential of, like, you
You
know,
could be getting some
action
every night if I saw you.
in the hotel room afterwards if you stay the night.
Exactly. Oh God.
Jeez.
But yeah, there's something.
You'll have to make him listen to this episode so he can hear that.
Then all of a sudden next week, like, yeah, I'm going to competitions every day.
I've
of
got
the
a
week.
competition tonight, tomorrow, the next night.
But I love watching what someone can do, and I just think that's
Very impressive.
yeah. I'm like, dang, look at you.
Yeah. Wow. Get it. Yeah. So, speaking of drama, I feel like we should talk about. So we went to a movie. I don't
It
know when this-
ends
like 2
with
weeks
us.
ago. Yeah, it ends with us.
And we took our men with us because
don't know.
I watched the trailer because Nick and I saw the movie Twister. It was really good. The soundtrack is amazing. But I saw the trailer for It Ends With Us, and I'm like, oh, this movie's kind of dark because it
I
came
didn't
off
even
like,
understand what this movie was about because I've never read the book.
Really?
No, I'm not like I'm not. I've heard so many mixed things about Colleen Hoover. I just don't know if I would like her, so I have never.
I've heard of her. I'm not into books since high school. So
Well, apparently her books are relatively pretty poorly written, from what I've
Ew.
heard.
Okay.
So, and not that spicy, and I prefer things to be like
Spicy.
spicy.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I'm not like my sister and I have this whole grading scale of
Yeah.
like, you know, spice, and I'm not like a green pepper. I'm like a 2 or 3 spice pepper type
okay.
person.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
but yeah,
So-
there's a lot of drama surrounding this movie.
Yes. And so, like I said, I watched the trailer, so I kind of got like a little insight of it.
Okay.
And so when we went on our double date, I told the boys, I was like, okay, this movie is going to be about domestic violence. And
But did the trailer tell you that? Because
A little
I've heard
bit.
opposite. I never
Because-
saw the trailer. So
yes, because the only thing that I saw in the trailer was he like freaked out and was like kicking a table, and she looked scared. And I was like, oh, DV right there. And Nick was like, then why are we seeing a sad movie? And I'm like, it looks good.
oh my gosh, it was so sad. I cried like the whole second half.
Really?
Yeah, it was very sad.
I think it was just like the birth part, and I'm like, that looks so real, and I've lived that. But so yeah, we saw it. I didn't think anything. I was like, oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah, did you actually like the actual movie?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay too.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine.
Her outfits were a little distracting. Her hair was a little distracting.
The outfits were just like, what is happening here?
But
and like the
she's known-
steampunk flower shop was sort of like, I didn't really get it. I didn't really get how that would be like practical.
I
because
was
it's
like,
so
how did you get
niche.
money?
Right.
Like they never.
I know.
Like-
the dad is supposed to be like a mayor or something. Like, and they lived in a huge house. And then like
Right.
you came to like, granted it's Boston, it's not New York, but you came to Boston, you purchased this flower shop, or at least you rent it, And
No struggle, just like, yep, I'll buy it.
You do a huge makeover.
It was like $1 million makeover.
Meanwhile, she's also wearing, what was it, Prada shoes? Was it Prada?
I think
and, what's the other one?
Givenchy,
No,
Louis Vuitton.
I think it was Louis
Hermes.
Vuitton? Something crazy. And I'm just like, and it was like a product shot almost too.
Oh.
You know the shoe shot that I'm talking about where it's like
Her
the lipstick
shoes?
tube as the heel?
But then I saw her bags too, and I'm like, I think that's a Louis Vuitton
Yeah,
bag.
and I'm just like, girl, where are you getting the money as this like person who
she's
just
just
moved out of her parents' house and lives
And
in
how old was she supposed to be in the book? She was what?
In the book, she's only supposed to be like young 20s, I'm pretty sure. 23 maybe.
Unless
she
she-
looks 40, which she is, and that's totally fine. But like, are we aging people like 10 years
Yeah.
so they can play a part in a movie?
But it just, I couldn't connect with the character because I'm
No.
like, there's no way some 20-some-year-old, quote unquote 20-some-year-old has like, oh, and they didn't say anything about the dad's life insurance or anything, like how she got all this money. So that's just beside the point. But I'm like, dang, she like turned this crusty, dusty,
Yeah.
old, falling apart looking store into like,
And it felt like the timeline moved a little quickly, which I kind of get because it's a 2-hour movie, so it's not like you can, so I get it. But I don't know. I just, certain things, especially after like seeing other people's opinions, I'm like, yeah, I totally agree. The wardrobe choices were freaking weird. Like,
It
why
was
was she wearing
distracting.
fishnets under her pajamas? Like, wouldn't
I
you take
noticed
those
that too.
off?
I'm like, huh?
And
Her hair. But in that movie,
I thought her hair
A-
was fine.
A
I
Simple
don't really care
Favor.
about that, but
I loved her. It was slick, and then the ponytail itself was like teased.
A Simple Favor.
Yeah, her
that what
and
it's called?
Anna Kendrick were in this movie.
Oh, I think, is that where she's like a soccer mom, but she's like a lawyer?
Yes, and
And
I think
then-
she had an evil twin.
What's it called again?
A Simple Favor, right?
A Simple Favor.
But yeah, her hair was like teased to the max, but like she made it look sleek, and I was like, that's kind of a cool hairstyle. And I tried it. I looked ridiculous. So,
Yeah, I think I do. When she's in the like full on
like,
tuxedo.
yes.
Okay, yeah, I see that right here.
And let me see the picture.
Oh, there's a second one
A second what? Movie
of
coming
this
out?
movie? A Simple Favor 2? I don't know.
Must be a rumor.
Okay. Like that. You
Yes.
can't really see it super well, but
Yes. And like it's just you have to have a Blake Lively face to pull that off, I think. I don't know. I look like an idiot.
I think it's about the like confidence that goes with it probably. Like I would not
Yes.
be confident in that.
But what was she? She was just an actress, right? She wasn't a model or anything. She's
Who?
definitely got a model face. Blake
Like
Lively.
Lively? No, she's just been an actress.
Okay.
But I know that she had some work done on her face. Although, you know, something I did appreciate, you can very much tell that she did not have her lips done. And she has like pretty thin, just like straight lips. And I do appreciate that she doesn't look overdone, even though she's had like a nose job and
Yep.
stuff.
And that's what they named her, like top celebrities that have subtle surgeries, but you can't even tell that they had
It just like enhances her, like what she naturally had, basically. Yeah.
Because like her and Kendall Jenner and Bella, they've all had surgery, but like it looks like
Like
it
it
was
could have
kind-
been.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it should have been.
Yeah, but
But anyway, so yes, that was the only thing that I took away after the movie. I'm like, her outfits were different. I wouldn't wear them, but
I just didn't think, and supposedly, I haven't read the book, like I said, but supposedly from the book, like, it's just not correct at all. And there's obviously a lot of things that have to change for an adaptation from a book to a movie. Like, it
Yes.
just,
Like,
obviously.
you could
But-
sit through a 4-hour movie, but not a whole lot of people are gonna do that.
But a lot of people were saying that, like, the person who was the girl who was cast as, like, young Lily, like, teenage Lily, was actually a perfect cast for, like, the character itself. Because she was young. And so, like, that is the correct, like, age. And
Like they should have just had her the entire time.
yeah, and people were saying, and I haven't seen a ton of Blake Lively movies. I'm not like a huge fan of her, but
Right,
people say
same.
that she just is the same in every movie. And I could totally get that because Ryan Reynolds is the same way. And I said that when we were at dinner that day or lunch or whatever.
I know Nick. He wanted to see Deadpool, Wolverine.
Me too.
And he's like, "Are you so excited to see?" Oh, I just had surgery, and so he's like, "Let's get you out of the house. We can go see this movie." And I'm like, Ryan Reynolds.
I
And he's like,
know.
what? He's like, he just plays the same,
He
that
does.
sarcastic, like,
And like it's only funny for so long, and then you're kind of like, okay, like let's be
my
original.
favorite movie is Waiting. And
I
he
don't know about
literally
that.
played, it's a bunch of waitress and waiters,
Mm.
like in a restaurant business dealing with Karens. And it's hilarious.
Okay.
But like the way he talks in that movie is the way he like does in Deadpool, like sarcastic
Yep.
and like just that whatever comedy. And I'm like, yeah, he's literally that guy from Waiting. And I just
And every other movie that he's been in.
yeah,
Literally
except
every other one.
for the
I've
proposal.
never seen him do. Oh, yeah, but you know what? He kind of has that
A
stuff humor in
little
that too.
a little bit of that humor, like he was kind of spitting that same kind of
That role for him, I think, was a little more serious, just because,
yeah.
like,
Because
don't
the
know,
star of the movie was supposed to be Sandra Bullock, and he didn't really take a whole lot away from her. Because when I think of that movie, I think of her. I don't really
For
think
sure.
and Betty White.
yes. But I do still think that he had that Ryan Reynolds thing
That
here and there.
shtick.
Yeah, and I just,
Yeah, and I'm
I
just
just
like,
find it annoying.
yes,
And I just don't think that's, like, you're not an actor. You just play yourself in every movie that you're in.
And you
And like
just-
for them, it works out because apparently there's drama surrounding him having like rewritten scenes and her directing
yes.
parts
So
of
after
it.
the movie,
So like it works out for them.
went on TikTok, and that's when like everybody was like,
Yep.
"Hey, what's going on with Justin? Is it Baldoni?
I think so, yeah. Or, yeah.
Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively?" I'm like,
Yep.
"Wait, what's going on?"
Because they're not doing press together.
No.
He's not doing press with literally any other person from the
He
cast.
didn't take any red carpet pictures
Yep.
with any of them.
Yep.
And the interviews,
Yep.
the way
None of the other cast members will like speak about him.
No.
They like somehow turn the question.
Yep.
So,
And people were like, "That's a little fishy."
yeah,
And then
and shady.
yes, so when then there was like that compilation of when he would do an interview, he's like, "The only thing I want people to take away from this movie is if you are a Lily Bloom, that you can walk away."
Yeah,
And you know,
he was really supporting the cause and trying to get like the cause out there. Like, do not stay in a domestic violence situation. Like,
and
promoting
people
this.
appreciated his bio too. Like
Yeah.
if you went on his thing,
Yep.
they're like, "If you are a victim, here's the links to help you."
Yeah.
Da da da. Da. And
Yes,
then
he was promoting like foundations and stuff, and
yes, because he's just like his heart was into this.
yeah,
and I think
it said that he was the one who bought the rights, and he's been working on it for
Yes.
5 years. Like, he wasn't even originally
wrote that
planning to act
movie
in it. Like,
with Dylan Sprouse, not The Fault in Our Stars, something
not
pretty
Dylan
close
Sprouse.
to
He's
that.
not in that.
Huh?
Is that another book adaptation?
Yes, but it had like a Dylan or Cole Sprouse in the movie.
I know which one you're talking about. I
But
can't remember what it's called.
But Justin directed and did that movie, and people loved it. I've never seen it, but
I've read those books. If it's the series that I'm thinking of, I own those books. If you'd like to borrow them.
but like so he's done movies like this before.
Yeah, and it seems like it's a cause that he is like he's passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, so
And then when it turned to Blake Lively talking about it, there was that one like, "Oh, if someone were to come up to you and be like, 'Hey, I'm kind of going through this. Do you have any words of advice?'" And then she kind of played it off like, "Well, do they want my location share? Do they want my phone number? Do they
Right.
want my address?"
and I
like,
totally just don't even get that joke. Like
And-
that was like the least funny
but
thing
then I'm
I think
like,
I've
"Do you
ever
think
heard.
you're your husband and you think you can have his shtick? You know?" Because I could definitely see him saying that.
Apparently they do. They must have that kind of like comedy routine with each other because how else would you survive?
I suppose.
She's just not as good at it.
Like
I
they
guess.
met on the Green Lantern.
I know.
I saw that
supposedly-
movie once.
He supposedly divorced Scarlett Johansson to be with her, which if that works for them, cool.
Fine. Yeah.
But I don't know. Even I saw this interview with the other male star. He's
that Brandon
Atlas.
Skylar.
I don't
No,
know what
it's
his
not.
name was. He played Atlas. And he was like the guy. The interviewer guy asked him like, "Oh, what is this movie about?" And he was just kind of like, "Oh, well, and it was just like, okay, so nobody who's in this cast even knows what this movie's about. They're just all here like promoting a good time. And everyone's saying that the way that it's being promoted by most of the cast is like they want it to be like
Barbie
a second.
Oppenheimer.
Yes, Barbie Summer. So everyone's like, wear your florals.
Bring your girlfriends, wear your florals, and just
Yeah.
have a good time watching this movie.
And, like,
and someone made a
no.
TikTok. They were like, yeah, bring Jaws. They're like, yeah, bring your sharks, bring your swimsuit. It's a good time.
Right.
And then they just started mocking everything she said. And then,
Yeah. And like there are past interviews now coming out, like just highlighting how absolutely rude she's been to interviewers. And
I want to congratulate you on your
Yeah.
little bump. Well, look at your little bump.
right. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you were actually pregnant, girl. Like what
The
what
one
did you want
thing-
someone to say?
And then she was holding her belly, and she was like, holding it on the red carpet, like she's proud of it. So I'm like, oh, okay.
It's crazy.
And then when she was talking to that Parker Posey,
I don't know who that is, but
I don't know either. But they were like literally just talking to each
Yes.
other and like ignoring the interviewer. And I'm like, is this an SNL skit? Like,
Yeah.
this can't be real.
yeah.
And the interviewer, she's just so like, okay, and like let them take the reins. And then they were talking shit about the interview. They're like, I wonder if they'd ask this question if I were a man.
Yeah, because she asked about the wardrobe or whatever for it.
Yeah, like.
Which I don't know what movie that was for,
Not a.
but it seemed
It was
like
a Woody Allen movie.
okay, but it seemed like that-
Woody Allen, the pedophile.
Oh yeah, because isn't he the one that married his stepdaughter or whatever,
Yes.
or his adoptive daughter or something like that? Yeah, creepy. But
Yes.
it's from the way that she asked the question, it made me think like the wardrobe was significant in the plot
Yeah.
somehow. So,
So I'm
maybe
like,
not.
You're kind of
but-
hypocritical.
Yeah,
that
it's just
you.
and yes, hypocritical because now in the all the PR for this
all
movie.
you want to talk about is your clothing.
Yes, and she's like, and I borrowed clothes from
Gigi
this friend,
Hadid,
and I used
and
my
the-
own wardrobe, and I wore my husband's coat. And
Oh my
this
gosh.
and that.
Nick
And I'm
was
just
like,
oh my
why is she
gosh.
wearing so much Carhartt? And
I
I'm like,
know it was like a Carhartt ad.
yes.
And,
And
like-
that's what movies now, like back in the day, no, they would like just have a bag of chips, but it wasn't like the front of
Yes.
the bag of chips. Like, oh, Lay's original. Here we go. Now it's everything is such
The
a product placement.
is like atrocious these
Yeah.
days.
I
Yeah.
remember we took our kids to go see Garfield, the movie, and literally it was just a giant commercial. Like there was just all these products just like in the shot.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, that's not.
Yeah, because
The movie was terrible,
Yeah.
and it was just product placement everywhere.
Yep.
Yes. But speaking of product placement, she was like promoting her Betty Buzz, Betty
Oh,
Booze,
the Betty Boo's and the hair care line as well. Apparently.
Blake Brown
Yes.
hair care. I'm
Yes.
like, where does Brown come from?
Who knows?
But I remember I was in Target, and
I know,
there
I
was
saw it.
one bottle left.
Really?
This was like before the movie that I saw, and I'm
Okay.
like, what's this Blake Brown? And I saw Blake Lively's face. I'm like, oh, does she have shampoo coming out? Or like, does she have a shampoo line now?
Mm-hmm.
And then, yep, I saw it on TikTok. They're like, I just tried out the Blake Brown hair care. And some people were like nitpicky about the product or the packaging. They're like, it's kind of a weird package. I like it, but
Mm-hmm. It's so
don't.
tiny. Is it actually the same size as a regular shampoo bottle?
No.
Is it?
But like the
I have
way
to look at the ounces.
for most people's showers, it doesn't.
Oh,
it's like
true.
it's like
They're
a
huge.
hexagon, octagon.
Yeah. It's. I think it's a hexagon. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, this just doesn't
Fit
fit.
in a shower.
Yeah, and
Like
they were
where who came up with her product ideas?
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like she low key got like the honeycomb idea from
Oh.
Rihanna because Rihanna's Fenty and like a lot of her stuff is like that.
yeah, but hers is octagon.
honeycomb.
I think
yeah,
hers is
octagon or hexagon, whatever.
No, maybe it is hexagon. Yeah, I don't know.
But it's cool the way that Rihanna does it. But I'm like, but it's
'Cause
like
it makes
a-
sense.
It's a concealer. It's a
It's a
bronzing stick.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
a-
Like,
yeah.
and they are magnetic. They specifically fit together. This has like the shampoo thing has nothing to do with that.
No.
And it completely doesn't fit in your small area.
no. It's not a Tetris like purposely shaped thing. It's it's going to be inconvenient.
And I heard on TikTok that it's one of the highest returned products
Yep.
at Target.
I saw
right-
it. And
right
then
now.
I was in Target the other day, and all her stuff was stocked up on
Yep.
there. Nothing was sold.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, she canceled.
Yeah, so either people really don't like the product and it's getting around, or for real, she's getting canceled, which I really hope because she just seems like a butt.
Yeah. Oh, and then I think
Like, I heard that Anna Kendrick won't work with her again.
and America Ferrera.
And you know what's crazy about the Anna Kendrick thing is because I've also heard that Anna Kendrick is a huge a-hole.
Oh yeah.
So if she won't work with her, oh boy.
No, but America Ferrera because they did Sisterhood
Traveling
of the
Pants.
Traveling Pants, and it was an older interview, but Blake literally took over the entire interview. And
That's
America
classic. That's very
Ferrera
her.
was just kind of sitting next to her and just kind of like side-eyeing her, like, are you going to have me jump in, or am I just sitting here looking pretty? And people were
Not
like,
surprised at all.
and then people were like, well, she got to work with Margot Robbie and be in Barbie, which was a more successful movie. So she came out winning in the end. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but even
"What?"
still, like she could have had a greater career, maybe. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what her career ambitions were, and she had some successful other things too. So it's not like
Ugly Betty is my favorite.
I know Ugly Betty's so good. That was a great show back in the day.
It was, but then it made me feel terrible about myself.
I know, because she wasn't even that fat. Like she was
She
not
wasn't that fat.
Like she was just
but
a
then,
normal person.
Like again, I thought eyebrows just naturally came with your face. And
eyebrows.
yeah, because she had bushy eyebrows in Ugly Betty. Like it was
Oh,
makeup.
yeah.
And you know they drew like gave her a mustache and everything, and I was like, is that how I'm viewed as a Hispanic person with bushy eyebrows and a mustache? Granted, they like fixed her up, but I was like, oh God, no one look at me.
Yeah, but that is sort of like a terrible. Like not everyone who's
I
Hispanic
get what they were
looks
trying
like
to
that.
do for the show,
Yeah.
but like if they were to do it now, it just would not cut it
Oh
at
my gosh,
all.
there's so many shows that would not do well because of that.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, please cancel Grey's Anatomy. I try. I just can't. I can't.
Why? What's wrong with it? Is it too?
I can't connect with the characters. I feel like it's
How
gone
many
way too
seasons has it
long.
been?
Too many.
I feel like the first couple seasons were okay.
We're literally gold.
Okay.
Gold.
I thought they were fine. I wouldn't go that far, but I thought they
Gold.
were fine.
Oh my gosh.
But after, gosh, what happened?
Derek Shepard left and Christina Yang left.
Yeah, and there was that whole controversy with what was his face? The short brown-haired guy, and then Idris Elba.
Nope, Isaiah Washington.
Oh, okay, Isaiah Washington. Okay, whatever. There was that whole controversy, and then after that, things got really weird. So,
Yeah, which is too bad. But they
Yeah.
brought Isaiah back for Christina's exit
oh,
because they were
was that the dark-haired girl?
Asian, Korean.
Oh, okay.
She was like Meredith's best friend.
Okay, yep.
She left the show, and they brought Isaiah back on the show and made it seem like they were going to work together and be like these two awesome doctors that are going to fix America's heart problem. It was a pretty good ending, but I was surprised that Shonda Rhimes brought him back because he made homophobic jokes to George O'Malley
Yeah, and he was gay, right?
in real life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, early 2000s shows.
I know.
I think it was just because I was there at the time, and that's what's so magical about it.
Probably, because I remember like in Gilmore Girls, they say the R word a couple times, and I'm kind of like, oh, that would never fly these days. That would never fly. Whoa.
No, there's
So-
a lot of, even Sabrina Carpenter, she was in was it Disney? No, it wasn't Disney Channel. But she was an actress before she became Sabrina Carpenter. And there was a scene where she's like yelling at a black girl, yelling all these stereotypical things. And I'm like, what is this?
I wonder
Who's
what's
this
that in?
girl? I don't know. They were like playing soccer. And she like said,
When she was like a kid, or like when she was a teenager?
I want to say a teenager. Like,
We're gonna have to look up her movie history and
yeah, but she
figure
was
that out.
like yelling these like offensive, not slurs, just stereotypes. And I'm like, what is this? Because it kind of seemed Disney Channel, but it wasn't.
Oh,
It was weird.
interesting.
Are you watching any new shows or anything?
I was watching something on Netflix, but I can't remember now because it's been too long. I've just like not been doing any like free time stuff. Like I've been working a lot and trying to get ready for that, and like spending a lot of time doing family stuff, and like we've had a lot of stuff going on at church and like with other families, and just I haven't had time to care about that. So
Yeah. Well, good for you.
yeah,
Running around doing the things.
a lot of things.
Meanwhile, I have not been.
You've just been chilling.
Yep. I got HBO Max again because I wanted
Yes.
to watch the documentary series about the Evansdale girls.
What's that?
Lyric and Elizabeth.
Okay, no. I don't know who that is, and I don't know the story, but I did just hear about this on TikTok or Instagram, maybe.
Yeah, they lived in Waterloo
Okay.
and they disappeared.
Oh.
And this was like year 2009, 2012. One of those. And it like shook.
The community.
Iowa.
Sure.
And my mom at the time I was like, that's really sad. But my mom was like hyperventilating. She's like, oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
like, but now as a parent, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was like in our backyard.
This is very similar to that case of that little boy, and I don't think it was Iowa, I think it was Minnesota, but he was like one of the first like milk carton type kids. So yeah, very
So,
similar.
I don't know if they're going to do more episodes, but there's been 3 out, and they're just talking about the history of like everything and who the potential person that could have done this. And
Like kind of the like behavior behind it, like the analysis, the behavior analysis, like who could it have been, who was in the area, that kind of stuff.
they had someone, but he unalived himself.
Oh boy.
And they were mad. They're like, dang it. Because we wanted to question him. Like, yeah, because he tried abducting 2 teenage girls, and he unalived one of them, but the other one ran away. So she's a survivor. And they were starting to look at his history. He has a mugshot in Mason City. Like, he has been doing awful, awful things since he was
goodness.
like he threw 2 3-year-olds in a dumpster in Charles City.
My
And then Mason City, there was a mugshot of him, Mason City, Iowa, mugshot. And then I'm like, what the hell? Why is he out of prison?
Oh my gosh. Well, thank goodness he's dead. Sorry
Yeah.
to say that.
Well,
But
the police were like, well, damn it.
I mean, yeah.
They
Like
were
it sucks because he couldn't own up to his crimes.
Yes.
But thank
Couldn't
goodness
own up
he's
to
not
a
like
crime,
in the
but
world
they're like,
anymore.
did you do this? Like,
Yeah.
please tell us. Like,
Yeah.
is there someone still out there?
Yeah.
And the sad thing is still open-ended.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I really want to finish I started, after I did the Dan Schneider series, I started the Nick Carter series.
Yeah.
And I got through, I think maybe like 1 or 2 episodes, and I think there was more than that. So I need to go back and finish that because that was also really good. And I think that was also on HBO.
Yes.
Or Hulu, maybe.
Yes. No, HBO.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I saw those too. They're like, you might like this. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to watch that.
I think you'd like it. Like, it's sad. It's scary and it's sad.
It is.
And I feel bad. So I
Yes.
don't mean to say like it's good, like, ooh, but it's very informative so far. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Rest in peace,
yeah,
Aaron.
yeah.
Yeah, because Nick is the
Yeah.
Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, they're just he's not here to tell if it's accurate or not. Same with like the Michael Jackson thing. Like
Yep.
they tried, but I'm like, okay, guys, this man has been gone for some time. Like, he's not even here to like. That's not true.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're just.
I just feel bad for like the people who it potentially still affects. Like, this
Oh,
girl
yeah.
that they were talking about in the documentary had like PTSD and
Well,
and
now
she was in Dream,
Dream.
that girl group. You would know if I played you the song. I can't remember what it's called.
I
Let me
doubt
look it up.
I
Yes,
highly
you would. You would absolutely 100% know.
No.
You would 100% know.
I was only obsessed with Britney Spears back in the day. Literally only Britney.
It was all a dream. That's their album. He loves you not. He loves you. He loves you not.
Oh, okay.
You know that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that song. She's from that group. Actually, I could show you a picture of her right here. It's this blonde girl.
Interesting. So
Yeah.
what about her?
He supposedly sexually assaulted her.
Who?
Nick, I believe, not Aaron.
Oh.
I think it was Nick. Don't quote me on that. I think it was Nick. Yeah, because they like dated, I think, openly too for a little bit, and like.
You know, it goes to that Cat Williams interview at the beginning of the year when he said this is the year where celebs are going to be exposed for who they truly are.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I feel like to some degree people don't really care.
I know.
I think it's just like new things come up and then things get pushed under the rug and we forget about them and like social media and
Like P. Diddy.
everything. Yeah, everything's just too big.
I thought everyone was going to like, I mean, he's done for.
Yeah, but
100%.
like nobody talks about him anymore unless you're like making a joke.
Yeah. P. Diddy, Drake.
Oh, with the Millie Bobby Brown stuff or what?
That, and then Kendrick kind of exposed him
Oh, I remember hearing
in
about
that
that in the
song.
song.
I just can't listen to that because it was everywhere. Yeah, people were just singing it all the time, and I'm like, I can't even listen to the song because I'm so over it.
Yeah.
I've never even heard the full thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, P. Diddy, Drake, Blake Lively, just kind of really exposing her character.
And I feel like Ryan Reynolds by association a little bit.
yeah, but
'cause
he
of his
just
hand in
isn't
that
getting
situation.
enough heat like Blake is.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like he's kind of, I don't know. Everyone says like, oh my gosh, all the men love Ryan Reynolds and blah, blah, blah. But I kind of feel like unless he's actively doing a project, like nobody really cares about him.
No.
Like people
And
like
I think
Deadpool.
that, I think that's how most of these people are going to stay relevant is if they like do recurring.
And he does a lot of directing and apparently screenwriting and apparently like he produces a ton of stuff. So it's not like they're going to be hurting.
They'll probably like not be on screen, but they'll be behind the scenes. So
yeah, they'll make plenty of money still.
yeah, I don't know. So
yeah, a lot has happened.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of drama
Yes.
has been going on. But do we have an emoji for this episode when it comes out?
Ooh.
I feel like something with drama. Sarah like one of those drama masks. Do we have that?
Yeah.
Is that one of the emojis?
Yeah, I think so.
Is
There's
it?
like the two of them.
I'm gonna look right now. Right? Isn't there?
Yeah, it's either that or like the jester. I think there's like a cute little jester.
Oh yeah, there is.
Juggling.
There's this little drama mask.
Yeah.
So it's
cute.
like a little blue mask and an orange mask.
Okay, so let's do mask and a flower
Oh yes, the pink flower because that was their.
and a
Big
basketball because we talked
Okay.
about the WNBA because there's
Yes.
drama in there too.
Yes. So basketball, pink flower, drama masks.
Basketball.
Yes, basketball, pink flower, drama masks.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Thank you for listening to our random.
Little catch up episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will wait for Calissa.
Yeah, we'll kind of see. I'm sorry, guys, all of you avid listeners out there. We haven't really been super around, I guess, but
Just
we'll
bear
see.
with us.
Yeah, bear with us. We're doing our best with all of our mixed schedules and stuff. So, but, yeah. So,
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
This has been Hannah.
and Sarah.
Bye.